Another This Week in My Natural World or whatever video. Start off with the cats. Yeah, that was all three of them were out in the driveway, and it was just kind of funny because they were, all just rolling around in the gravel and kind of comfortable in the sun. And it's just kind of funny, the psychology, because you could see that they all like wanted something. They all wanted to be petted or have their ears licked or whatever it was, and it's like they just have no way to communicate that to each other, and it was just kind of funny to watch. I mean, I never saw them all at one time in the driveway because two of them don't really like each other. The two little striped cats don't get along too well. The gray one kind of gets along with everybody, but it was just kind of funny to watch because they were like all. It's just weird to see cats all in the same mood at the same time. I mean, they were just all rolling around in the gravel. It's just a very strange scenario, and but like I said, it's just the psychology of it. You could just kind of read in them that they all want, but there's just nothing. They don't know how to communicate it or how to get it, and I guess in a way we're all sort of trapped in that scenario. We're all struggling to find a way to make the driveway enough, to make what we have enough to make it work. And so if that's the best we can do, then that's the best we can do. So that's the end of it. They said hello to each other, and they made faces at each other and said to hell with that, which is also funny. They get along and then they really don't get along. So that was the sewer pipe again. We used to go up that pipe when we were kids in the summer. It was nice and cool up there. But they put this great wall of China up by the stream. The town government paid for this. It's over $70,000. And because they were saying that it was eroding the guy's property, and I know it wasn't, just because I used to go fishing there when I was a kid. And that stream basically didn't change for 30 years. So it's a big pile of wasted money. It's a little crayfish in a stream. They're kind of neat, they look a lot like lobsters, and the ones up here in the north I think are a little more lobstery. The ones in the south kind of look funnier because they're kind of longer and have pointier claws and stuff. So they get about 4 or 5 inches long. Nobody eats them here, but I guess they theoretically could. They just basically eat the tails, and so you could probably get something out of them. But they don't really farm them or do anything like that up here. When I was a kid, I used to always be catching them. They were just sort of neat. They wasn't as good as a turtle, but it was just kind of a neat animal. I mean, it's got the shell and all these legs and all this stuff is going on, and it's just a very interesting piece of biology in terms of how it was constructed. And I guess when it first arrived, I guess its predators were like frogs or something, so the shell really worked, but it doesn't do them much good against animals with more powerful jaws. Just a little frog, one of those little polywogs that was shown in one of the videos, is what they grow into. It's a little, pretty small. It's only like a little half-inch frog. And this is like the grass field, sort of where they mow the grass in this one field, and this is a part they actually seeded a few years ago, but then some kids, did donuts with their cars and tore it all up. And so they never smoothed it out enough to cut the grass, and so they just let it grow. And so it's just this, briar patch or whatever, full of weeds and bushes that are growing in there now. And so I had a piece of grass there, and it's all the seeds, and so it sort of goes to the argument of what human beings were eating. And just in this one little patch of grass, there was 5 or 6 different species of grass, and they all have a different seed pattern. I mean, this one's more like I don't know if that's more like wheat, in terms of how it seeds. But, there's a lot of food in those seeds. And there's another variety that's, it's more like a flower, but it is seeds. But it's really a grass plant, though. I mean, it's just shoots. And I think that was it for that. This hibiscus in my garden, they're really big flowers. And I had some white ones that were even bigger than these. But I showed it with my hand there. I mean, it's a big flower. And I had some that were almost like a third bigger than that. I was just weeding the garden in here, so it's not much of a video. This weeding, part of the chore of having flowers, is you gotta pull a bunch of weeds, and so it's kind of the downside. It ain't free. And this first tomato, it's the size of a golf ball. It really wasn't much of a tomato, but it's a tomato. The tomatoes aren't doing all that good this year. So there's another nasty praying mantis clip. It's eating a little bumblebee, and it's just chewing at its abdomen. And you can see all its little legs are still moving, and it's it's pretty nasty. Yeah, I don't feel any obligation to pull the bee away and kill the bee, and just so the praying mantis can kill another bee. I mean, I just didn't see any point in that. So if somebody's going to argue about it, fuck them. But this is how the real world works. This is nature. Nature sucks. It's brutal and nasty stuff. I didn't invent it. I don't endorse it. I wouldn't perpetuate it. So I really don't have a responsibility to go outside every day and see what all the bugs are doing under every rock they're living under, and to stop them from being nasty. Really, this is the reality. It's billions and billions of times a day those little dramas take place. So this was a drama I did interrupt. The cat had caught a bird, and he hadn't really heard it. I mean, the cat's not a very good hunter. And so I interrupt the cat, I take the cat away, I pet the cat, I try to distract the cat so it thinks of something else, and it just was completely ineffective. It just ran right back to the same spot and looked for the bird. But the bird it looked okay when I saw it, and it really was closely matched to the ground cover, so I think it would have been alright. It was just sort of like not in shock, but just hiding. This is a praying mantis with its wings. I screwed up. I turned the camera on when I should have turned it off, so I don't have the friggin' video. So you can barely see it, but it's on this deer netting, and they don't grow the wings. They actually molt, so they shed their shell, and when they do that, that's when they have the wings. Yeah, this is one of those bumblebees, the carpenter bees. They actually drill holes in the side of the house and have their grubs live inside the wood, and they're really kind of clever. But when it comes to eating, they're really pigs. You eat these flowers and they get so covered with pollen that they can't even fly. And so it's like they'll be bouncing around off the leaves, they'll fall on the ground, it's just, it's amazing they can get away with being that messed up on pollen and still survive, because they really become an easy target. This is just a little bass, this little 5-inch little fish that was swimming around that pond there was a picture of earlier. They just sit there. The shadow is on the bottom there. It's not two fish, it's a shadow. But they have a little stripe down the side of them and a little black line on their back of their tail, and that's how you can tell they're bass. And it's largemouth bass. Some will get pretty big in the pond. It's just a snail, but there was quite a few of them in there, and so it was kind of good to see that, because it's been about 15 years since the pond had any snails in it. So there's a little bigger bass that was just swimming by in the deeper water. So I followed them for a little bit. These are these butterflies. They were, mating or whatever, and raping. I don't know, whatever. And so it was just kind of funny because they were crashing into me. So they're just chasing each other, or he's chasing her, I suppose. And yeah, it just didn't seem very functional relationship, But I guess they make it do. They make it work somehow. But it doesn't look like it was working. So I think we're about at the end here. I don't think there's much else. So this is a happy ending, right? Romance at the end. A bit of butterfly romance. A lot of these butterflies are these dark ones now. I don't know why there's not as many of the yellow variety this year of swallowtail. And I think that's it. It really should be it. Don't know why there's so much of this butterflying stuff going on, but it's free, and you're not paying for it. It's free nature film with butterflies fluttering around chasing each other. I really don't know why that's so long. Oh, here's an old clip of me. This is like 15-20 years ago, and you can see I have a little possum. I raised a little possum. His mother got squashed on the road, and so I raised him. I called him Emerson. There's a better picture of him. And he was kind of funny. I had him for about a year, a little less than that. And yeah, he was kind of dumb as hell, but he